It actually took a very tough beating to get me out of the sport.
By Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao.
Have you ever wondered what goes through a champion's mind when he steps back into the ring after years away? Have you ever paused to ask, can this warrior still summon the fire that once made him unstoppable?
I mean, he beat the hell out of me. Manny Pacquiao would be right in front of me. He would, after hitting me 15 times,
Oscar De La Hoya stood in that gym, the air thick with the sound of gloves on bags, witnessing a familiar figure shadowboxing with the same intensity that once defined his prime. He knew boxing was a young man's game, yet here was Manny Pacquiao, 46 years old, 4 years removed from official competition, moving with a speed and ferocity that defied every expectation.
And then I would be ready to hit him, and he would be wide open, and I couldn't pull the trigger. I just couldn't pull the trigger.
De La Hoya had come to see if the legend still lived in those fists, and what he found was a fighter who had come back not for nostalgia, but for the visceral thrill of battle.
Still remember to this day the conversation I had with Oscar when I first told him, hey, you should fight Pacquiao.
De La Hoya's first words after sharing sparring rounds and sweat-soaked drills with Pacquiao crackled through the gym like a live wire. He didn't dwell on the years that had passed or sugarcoat the weight of Pacquiao's storied past. He simply spoke, voice tight with respect and disbelief, about the heart he saw in every jab, the passion in every combination, and the undeniable spark that still danced in Pacquiao's eyes. Oscar laughed, "He's too little, he's too little." There was a difference of almost 20 pounds, and yet the ferocity of a teenager. Each punch was measured yet explosive, every footwork drill executed as though Pacquiao's body remembered more than 4 decades of war in the ring. De La Hoya admitted he'd been wrong to think age would dull that edge.
Oscar laughed. He's too little. He's too little, that guy. There is a difference of almost 20 pounds.
The conversation turned to Pacquiao's motivations, and De La Hoya asked the question on everyone's mind: why return now when there was nothing left to prove? Pacquiao's reply, a simple declaration of love for the sweet science and a hunger to face the best, resonated louder than any knockout blow. De La Hoya nodded, acknowledging that true fighters never really retire, they just wait for the next challenge to reignite their spirit. Watching him move, De La Hoya saw that Pacquiao had not lost the lightning-quick reflexes or blistering power that once made opponents tremble. Those 4 years away from official bouts had done more than rest his body, they had stoked a deeper fire. At 46, Pacquiao's comeback defied every stereotype. Younger challengers had knocked on boxing's door for decades, eager to unseat the masters. But Pacquiao's return was different. It was the return of a legend, humbly ready to test his mettle against youth itself. De La Hoya recalled the first time he sparred with a southpaw so elusive he couldn't land a telltale punch. That was Pacquiao, back from the shadows, reminding everyone why his name is etched in boxing lore.
People want to see that fight. People are excited. He's the guy that's coming up. He's fast, Oscar, but eventually your size is going to break him down.
De La Hoya spoke of the stories he'd heard: Pacquiao running at dawn, meditating at dusk, and balancing church services with mitt work in between. He painted a picture of a disciplined routine that fused athleticism with spirituality, a regimen that made every other fighter camp look like a rehearsal. Critics once scoffed that Pacquiao's age would betray him, but in De La Hoya's vivid recollection, it only sharpened his edge. Then came the reflection on their own bout years ago. De La Hoya didn't mince words about the punishment he took: 15 precise punches, each landing with the force of a sermon. He spoke candidly of walking into the ring underprepared, of weight-cut mistakes that drained his strength, and of the moment he realized he was facing more than a man, he was facing a force of nature. That memory, De La Hoya confessed, had haunted him. But now, it served as a testament to Pacquiao's enduring prowess. De La Hoya shifted to the nuances of sparring etiquette, telling how Pacquiao's camp forbade cameras yet fostered an atmosphere of trust and respect. He described clandestine footage, brief glimpses of Pacquiao's training that leaked out, yet always guarded by a code of honor no true fighter would break. In those hidden clips, Pacquiao moved like a man half his age, his combinations crisp, his angles unpredictable. De La Hoya noted that even in private sessions, the warrior's instinct remained razor-sharp. "I was like F******, he admitted. He had no legs, he had no pop, he had no punch. He recounted how close-quarters drills revealed Pacquiao's disdain for safety nets. There were no soft landings, no easy exits. In De La Hoya's telling, Pacquiao tackled every drill like it was fight night. Every left hook, every pivot. It was the work ethic of a man determined not just to recapture past glory, but to lay down a new chapter of greatness. As De La Hoya spoke, the narrative unfolded. Pacquiao's journey from youthful phenom to global superstar, from political office back to prizefighting, all leading to this moment. The upcoming clash with Mario Barrios was not a fling, it was a statement. De La Hoya warned that Barrios, though younger and hungry, would face a test unlike any he'd known. Pacquiao's resume spoke for itself, but it was the fire in his eyes that convinced De La Hoya this was no exhibition, but a real shot at defying time itself. In those final minutes, De La Hoya begged Pacquiao to remember the joy that first lured him into the sport. He reminded him that every champion carries the hopes of fans, of nations, and of the young fighters who watch with dreams in their hearts. De La Hoya's closing observation was simple: legends never die, they only rise, fall, and then rise again. Oscar De La Hoya watched Mario Barrios shadowbox across from Pacquiao and laughed at the sight.
Something was not right. I could see it in his eyes. He's not even throwing punches. What is he doing?
Pacquiao snakes his left hand through De La Hoya's guard.
I was like, he had no legs, he had no pop, he had no punch.
Pacquiao is making De La Hoya look old, slow, ineffectual. De La Hoya has zero answers.
De La Hoya noted that Barrios was making him look old, slow, ineffectual. De La Hoya had zero answers. Here was a fighter in his prime, muscles rippling and eyes fixed, trying to shake the ghost of a legend. Barrios matched combinations with speed, but Pacquiao danced around him, arms low, feet light. De La Hoya mused that this was the oldest trick in boxing: disarm the young lion by showing you can still roar. He noted that Barrios had all the tools, yet absolutely no clue how to disrupt a warrior's rhythm. The room crackled when the coach barked, "Speed!" and Barrios unleashed a burst of jabs. Pacquiao bobbed and weaved, not just blocking, but taunting the youth. De La Hoya identified that spark, Pacquiao's grin after every missed blow. The grin of a man who knew he still held the keys to the kingdom. He said this grin alone could break Barrios's confidence before the bell. De La Hoya insisted that fight night would hinge less on power and more on mind games. He recounted his own early days, when a jab felt like a landing rocket. He questioned whether Barrios understood that a veteran's jab carried years of pain and purpose. He warned the audience that power could fade, but precision lived forever. He argued that every veteran fighter knew one good jab could crash a young man's dream. In his telling, that jab was the trumpet announcing Pacquiao's return to glory.
I was scared. And I said, you know what? The spark's not there. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have it.
I wouldn't have loved to fight Pacquiao again because he kicked my ass. Sorry. But yeah, there were many fighters out there who I would have loved to fight 2 or 3 times.
The gym quieted when Pacquiao switched to defensive drills. He absorbed combinations, then countered with a flick that snapped a punching bag backward. De La Hoya praised how Pacquiao's defense had the elegance of classical dance but the intent of cold steel. He mocked modern trainers obsessed with fancy tech, saying real defense was forged in countless rounds under sweat and pain. He declared that no machine could replicate the instincts honed by real battles. He pointed out that Pacquiao's instincts were still sharper than any algorithm.